You're listening to The Edge. On this special program, I interview two guests. David Love, who returns with new information on legal entanglements of the Scientology-based business of Narconon, which are escalating in Canada. Our other guest is Rafael Gomez, who gives us his perspective on human trafficking by Scientology in Latin America. Born on the west coast of British Columbia, David Edgar Love now resides in the Montreal area. David formed a charitable organization in 1990 and was the director of a rehabilitation center for substance abuse. He then completed a University of British Columbia real estate course and was employed as a realtor and submortgage broker for more than 6 years. He had extensive experience as a patient and staff member of Narconon in Quebec, Canada. Welcome to The Edge, David.
Hello, Tom. Thank you.
Rafael Gomez had his own information technology firm in Mexico City for 10 years before becoming an executive in Scientology's C organization for Latin America. He worked for 6 years, mainly inside the finance section, in charge of that area for 4 Scientology organizations. Rafael left Scientology 6 years ago. Today, he is a private consultant in the field of information technology. Welcome to The Edge, Rafael.
Thank you very much, Thomas.
I would like to start the interview today with you, Rafael. What is the Sea Org and how were you recruited?
Basically, the Sea organization is the private organization that L. Ron Hubbard founded with the sole purpose to protect every single Scientology church and all the confidential materials he wrote. He was actually hiding from CIA, from IRS, and from other kind of organizations. So he was actually living on the Apollo, and he was actually founding this organization with the sole purpose to protect and manage all these Scientology organizations. How I was recruited? Well, I was a parishioner for 3 years in Mexico City. I was getting inside by a front named WISE. It's the worldwide of Scientology enterprises. And after that, I went to do some services, which is all the Scientology services, courses, auditing the today's ideal at Mexico City. And after some time, I became the staff member for director. I was the DPM, is Marketing and Promotional Director for that organization. And 5 years after that, I was recruited by Giuliano Introsi, who is actually today the International Finance Officer. And I went into the Sea Org for the next 6 years.
And you got an appointment to handle finances for Scientology organizations. What did that entail?
Yeah, well, basically, my post was a flag banking officer, which means I was not flag the service organization, but flag bureau, which is the international administration representative for finances on any single org that the Sea organization posts me in. Basically, I was the finance representation for the international administration of whatever organization area was posted.
Okay, and you oversaw the finances of 4, maybe more Scientology organizations in Latin America or just Mexico?
On all Latin America, I was on Buenos Aires, and in Mexico I was on ITD, which today is the Delarosa. I was on Guadalajara, overseeing 2 other organizations in Mexico City besides ITD. So yeah, there's quite a few.
Tell us about some of your experiences that seem outstanding to you in the Sea Org in Latin America.
Well, basically, we start with this point. These organizations on Mexico, Scientology is not recognized as a religion. It doesn't have any religious status. So every single organization is non-lucrative, but is an association independent from each other. So every single one of them has a contract. And when you sign up any single contract, you're actually taking away your your natural rights for legally sue them against laboral issues. You are actually getting rid of all your benefits for working by them or for them. And the most funny part is that the contract is a religious contract, but they are not recognized as a religion here. So it's actually odd.
You're talking about the billion-year contract.
No, the billion-year contract from the CR is not valid on any single country, as I know. Obviously, I signed up the contract for 1 billion years, but they also made you sign up a legal contract for 5 years, and you need to re-sign it again every 5 years. And that contract is a religious contract, but it's not valid on Mexico or every single country where religious status is not being recognized.
Okay, so you're going to have to sign a 5-year contract then. Let's say you would continue the Sea Org another 200 million times or something like that.
yeah, for the rest of your life.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Now, while you were in the Sea Organization Latin America, did you observe anything, what we call here in the United States, and I guess in Canada too, we call it human trafficking, which is the unlawful employment and transportation of people?
Yeah, well, you could actually say that even by the new definitions of the UN about human trafficking and slave labor, every single immigrant brought to Mexico City for joining the Sea Organization, it doesn't have a valid contract for working in Mexico. They don't have any single visa for working in Mexico. They are not religious workers. They are just on tourist visas, and they are just some of them, like some Venezuelan people who are new. They were brought to Mexico with the expectancy to go to the United States and live there on a Scientology church, of course. But the promising that you're saying to the foreign people that, oh, you want to go to the United States? Okay, come to Mexico first, and then you work with us on the United States. That's part of it. Actually, we have a case, which is a very sad case. It's a legal issue in Mexico where a boy or a young man is a CIR member. The name is Alexander Spatz Leiva. He's on jail because somebody recruited a Colombian girl, and the Colombian girl complained to the Colombian embassy, and the Colombian consul made all the blame fit because she was promised going to work for the Free Winds, but she needed to make first step at Mexico City for doing the first steps on training, but somebody took off her visa and her legal papers. That's actually a crime. And she was not able to get out from the base, and she ran away. She went to the council, and immediately all the plane fit was actually done. And the most funny part, and is the most sad part, is that this boy, Alexander Leiva, or Alexander Spatz, he was not the one who recruited the girl. He didn't transport the girl to Mexico. He didn't pay the plane ticket. He didn't put her on doing messed work. Messed work is heavy cleaning duties, heavy...
What we call menial labor?
Yeah, actually, yes. Yeah. And he didn't put her doing anything on that, but he's in jail. So where are the people who actually recruited her, transported her, lied to her, and then retained the documents?
Well,
they're afraid.
Yeah, they're afraid. Well, what he should do, the fellow who's in jail, is come forth and say, okay, here's the guy, here's what I know. This is the person who, if he knows this, who transported her. Here's the person who recruited her. Here's the person who had her sign contracts, that kind of thing. If he has that information, he should be forthcoming.
Yeah, you're right on that. But actually, what I'm really, really afraid about this is that he's actually protecting the C organization. Because if you prove that more than one person was involved on that act, you can prove actually criminal organization. And he's the only one inside, so it means either he's a scapegoat or he's protecting the C organization from that label, and he's protecting a lot of executives, because any person joining the C organization needs to have an approve from at least 4 executives. So he's actually either protecting people or he doesn't even know what to do. And the mother is highly controlled by the Office of Special Affairs in Mexico. She doesn't talk to anybody. She doesn't even know the complete case, as I know per some people I know. And there is a lot of secrecy on that stuff. If you Google even the name, it's not the full information of it. It's only pieces, but I got more information.
Who's the head of the Department of Special Affairs in Mexico?
Mariano Pedersoli. That's the head.
Okay. So this fellow has not come forth and reported anybody else he knows who's involved in this. He may be being secret about it, which is very typical in Scientology. There's lots of secrecy in that organization. From this human trafficking, from the shuttling of people around, from this fraudulent inducement to get people to work different places, who's benefiting from this in the organization? I mean, society is not benefiting from this. We're losing on this. But who in the Scientology organization benefits from that?
The only people in Mexico who benefits from that is the C organization itself. The legal name is Federación Mexicana de Bionética. That's the legal name. And they're actually the link between the international administration and every single organization for all Latin America. They, and obviously the international administration of the name is Flag Bureau, but there is the Church of Scientology International, that's the legal name, and those are the only ones who benefit from this.
Do you know of any other cases besides this one involving this girl from, she was from Colombia?
Yeah, she was from Colombia. Well, this is the only case being denounced on the police. But obviously, yes, I know several other cases. Like, let's see one sample. Aida Torcat, she's a Venezuelan woman. She was my junior, and she started to have a dark bruises on the left arm toward the left breast. I especially took her to the person in charge for the medical care, and I didn't see her for weeks, and she didn't get any single medical treatment, and I just received a phone call with a visit from my superior that we needed to route her out because she was with cancer, and if she died at Mexico City, it would be a terrible public relations reputation for this organization in Scientology. So,
in Scientology they call that a PR flap, or in the Sea Org a shore flap.
Yeah, exactly. And so she was routed out without any single money, no medical insurance, not even not even the money for being routed out unfairly, not even that. And years after I found out that she was okay, it was a tumor, but it was not cancer. So she's okay. But these kind of things, I know several cases. I know, like another case, another Venezuelan woman who actually had a psychotic break inside the C organization, and nobody saw her again. And suddenly I found out, like 2 years after, that she was inside a house without seeing anybody until she was routed out. So she was secretly kept because she was not foreseeing anybody, and she was actually being, you could say, held against her will because she was not conscious about what was going on with her.
It kind of sounds like the Lisa McPherson case, which we had up here in Clearwater, where she was held against her will by Scientology in one of their hotel, allegedly their hotel, for a considerable period of time. So is it common for the Scientology organization to, when someone has a physical or mental health issue like that is, I guess some would call serious or potentially serious, they just throw them away?
I will just correct one point on that comment, because I believe it's not a generality about the Scientology organization, is the C organization who actually controls Scientology organizations, who actually does that as a normal habit.
Okay. Any other instances of human trafficking that you observe that you'd like to mention here?
Yeah, like let's see a sample. This base was like almost Venezuelan, right? 3 Venezuelan people arrived to the base. They were recruited with the false expectations to go to the United States or Europe. Suddenly they find out that they don't qualify, because nobody tells them that they don't qualify. And they escape to the Venezuelan embassy. So the Venezuelan council helped them to escape from Mexico with paying all the legal documents and visas. So yes, I know some cases. I don't know all the names, but yes, I have seen that very, very often. Even people complain that the passports were withdrawn, and it's a normal habit in the organization in Mexico. I believe in the world, but in Mexico I saw that. And people they want to go home, they are not allowed to go home until they do like 1 or 2 months on manual labor and a lot of humiliations, and they are not able even to speak with their families.
Since you were in the finance section of the Sea Organization in Latin America, you probably observed or supervised some transfers of money across national borders. Did you see anything done or that was ordered that was you have reason to believe was illegal or suspicious?
Yes, actually, we can talk specifically about Colombia and Venezuela. Venezuela has a law where every single exchange money from the Venezuelan peso needs to be done through Caribe, which is the government exchange house. So it's a recommendation, and it's often used, and it's a custom between the Scientology parishioners on Venezuela and the Scientology Sea Organization on Mexico, that when a Sea member arrives in Venezuela, they go to the black market. The Venezuelan peso is being exchanged by dollars on the black market, not Caribe, and they attach the money or the dollars to the seer body, or he just put it inside the socks or something like that. And when he returns to Mexico, he just put it out and he just send it on an exchange house through a flag or to the freeways or whatever the money needs to go. That's it. That's actually.
So he takes pesos and he converts them to the Venezuelan currency.
Yeah.
Talking about, he converts it to that into cash, though. Then he carries it on his person, in his pocket, or in a coat or a jacket or something, back across into Mexico.
Yeah, exactly. The point on this is that the Bolivian or the Venezuelan peso or the Venezuelan currency is not exchanged on the government's exchange house, Caribe. It's exchanged on the black market, so the government never finds out what's going on with that money, and it's going out from Venezuela with a foreigner, and the money, it doesn't even arrive to a Mexican account. It goes directly from exchange house to either flag or freeways or Sand Hill.
Do they go to the black market in Medellin or Cartagena or?
Yes.
Okay, so both Cartagena and Medellin?
Yes, and actually, even when you are getting out from the airport, you can see all the people from the black market selling dollars. So you don't even need to travel a lot. I
just wonder, Medellin is a narcotics trafficking area of Colombia, very heavy narcotics trafficking area. So there's a lot of drug money being laundered there. In other words, they want to change the cash. That's very interesting. It is very interesting, and it's actually really, really, really intense, because if they exchange it on that part, that means that the Sea Organization and Scientology are actually contributing to the laundering of money from narco traffic. And the international narcotics trade as well. As well as, yes. Did you see any other unusual or suspicious financial transactions, perhaps involving cash or just something, the mislabeling of a transaction on the books, anything like that? Well, the money that is on the books is actually very truthful.
Yeah, but actually some organizations on Colombia and Venezuela, they don't have all the money on the bank accounts. They have a lot of money on the drawers, on the treasury. Yeah.
You mean like in what they call safe deposit boxes? They're like little...
Like little safe deposit boxes. Yes, you're right. And that money is not reported to the bank and is not even deposited anywhere. It's only cash flow. They have the books about it, but they don't report it. And actually, Venezuela has two accounts on the United States on the name of Scientology organization. So the Sea organization funds from that organization, they are not even inside Venezuela, they're on the United States.
That's extremely interesting. What Spanish language resources exist to inform people in Latin America about the activities of Scientology?
Well, to be honest, the only Spanish sources reporting this is myself, several ex-year members who are actually publishing among the internet all their memories and everything what's going on inside Scientology. Is not about actually the religion of Scientology. It's about the crimes behind the lines, administrative lines on Scientology they are reporting. And it's very, very little. A lot of people doesn't even report anything because they're very afraid.
Has Scientology retaliated against these people? They do have a practice, I guess it isn't a policy anymore, but they do have a practice of what's called fair game. Have these people been fair gamed, to your knowledge?
Well, to my knowledge, yes. Let's see an example. Cesar Velasco is a former parishioner from Scientology. One of her daughters suffered sexual abuse, and he was threatened by OSA, by the legal departments from Scientology, not to tell the police, otherwise he would be excommunicated, set it aside, or expelled from the religion. So he was not able to make a legal complaint about this, and after all the time he was anyway expelled, and he's talking a lot today, but he was anyway expelled and disconnected from family members, and that's actually part of the fair game, the connection with family members when people are speaking out. The public discredit, he was menaced that his personal and private matter on auditing, they were about to be on the light, on the press media, but he didn't care about it. But that was a threat, and yes, that is part of the fair game.
Were any retaliative actions directed against you? Were you fair gamed?
Recently, I used to have a blog which is actually about to be on again. Yeah, the Church of Scientology International threatened the hosting company who were hosting my blog. I was actually posting of human trafficking with real data, true specific data, and they retaliated with a law firm against the host company and the registrant. So for taking my subdomain down, and it was actually down. Now is on another country hosting me, but I just explained and I just sent a letter answering back on false accusations that they were doing. That is actually not accurate. What they're actually accusing, not me, the hosting provider, but it's actually affecting me and affecting my business. Now it's right, but it was hard for 1 week.
It's interesting that an organization that is so aggressive about insisting it's a religion, on the other hand, it wants to crush free speech and freedom of information.
Yeah, it's very typical of them. With the left hand, they promote human rights, and with the right hand, they cut the freedom of speech and a lot of other rights.
Is there anything else you want to say about your experiences in the Sea Org, what you observed there is in your post in the Sea Org in Latin America?
Yeah, I would actually like to say that the Sea organization in Latin America is actually behind every single organization. And when you see any staff member who's actually starving, who actually is a family having economical difficulties, they are not let out to the street after 8 hours of labor because they have an event and they need to do a quota or something like that. the Sea organization is behind all that, and its specific actions with the specific people is they're actually doing a very hard control on the staff members of every single organization. And the Sea Orgs, they don't know it, but actually they are victims of human trafficking and slave labor, the modern slave labor. But they're actually look like they are doing it by their own will, but they're actually deceived.
Would you like to take a break right now?
Sure.
We'll be back after the station identification with our guests today, David Love and Rafael Gomez. Please stay with us.